Hello, Leroy Third here. Today we're going to talk about what happens when you get the Verselab, you open up a box, you just want to make some sounds. How does that work? So to start off, when you first start the Verselab, you're going to be in song mode. Change this to sequencer mode. That's where we're going to work today. Sequencer mode is where we put together all the building blocks to make a song in the future. So that's where we're going to start. So if you look down below the workflow area here, you have the tracks, drum tracks and melodic tracks. They're labeled kick, snare, hi-hat, kit, bass, instrument 1, instrument 2, and vocal. Vocal track is not useful in sequencer mode. It's only for song mode. We'll get there in the future. You should note that there are a couple of limitations, but in general, each of these 7 tracks can be whatever you want. The options we have are a tone track, a kit track, or a looper track. We're not going to talk about the looper track today, but a tone track can be either a preset, some patch that you've gotten from Roland or created yourself in Zenology Pro, or it can be a sample. You can put in a sample and play it chromatically. We're going to show you how all this stuff works in the future, or right now in this video. So all 7 of these tracks can be either tone tracks or kit tracks. That's the other one you can do. A kit track is just a collection of 16 samples. So by default, the one labeled kit is already a kit track. You have 16 different drum sounds. By default, your kick is going to be here at the bottom left, snare, clap. These are kind of interchangeable, right? Close and open hi-hat, rim shot, clap. We got that one already. Tambourine, cowbell, just miscellaneous percussion stuff. These ones are your toms in order, low, medium, high. These ones are your congas, low, medium, high, around the corner. And these are going to be your cymbals, usually a crash and a ride. Just by default, you can change any of these to anything you want, but that's a kit track. A kit track has 16 separate samples, 1 sample on each pad. Every other one is tonal. So if you go to, say, instrument 1, this one's a bell by default. Right? You can play it like an instrument. It's fantastic. But you can also make it a single sample. Like in these 3 tracks, by default, it's a single sample of, say, a snare. But you can play it chromatically because it's a sample. Okay, before we go any farther, let's just talk about how you would change a sound, how you make it something different. Let's start with instrument 1. This is a bell. There are 2 ways to change the sound on the track. They vary slightly for some instances, but the best way to do this is to go to your value knob and push down on the value knob, and then you have this browser come up. So the first one is preset. If you hit preset, these are the sounds that come with your Verselab. It's going to start with all number, and a lot of times you get a question, what does all number mean? What are these numbers coming from? The numbers come from the Verselab sound list that you can get from Roland's site directly. And if you go to all number, notice up here at the top, this right now says synth bell. It says E001, right? That's the sound we're on right now. Let's just go all the way back to the beginning so we can see this a little bit easier. At A001, it says saturated 808 plus synth bass drum 1. If we go into the sound list and we go to tone, bank A, right? A001, A001, it's saturated 808 plus synth BD1 drums, right? If we go down to, say, the B section, B12, analog snare 2. So we go to bank B, we go to 12, analog snare 2. See, so it's going by these banks and then the sound number in the bank. This is bank B, sound 12. This is, bank C, number 28. And then it shows you what that sound is. That's what this list shows you. If you hit exit, it'll go back a menu. Exit. Next one on the list is all alphabet. That's the same list, but it does it alphabetically by the tone name. So 101 bass is the first one because it starts with the 1. It's going alphabetically. 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? If you're looking for an 808, this is an easy way to do it. You just go to the 8s, right? If you're looking for guitar, you can just scroll down to the Gs. By the way, I'm holding the shift to make it go faster. It scrolls faster if you hold shift. See? Fast it's going, slow, fast. Anyway, if you wanted a guitar, you just can scroll down to the Gs because it's alphabetical. Look, guitar. Guitar, 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 right? Makes it very simple, and it's also on here. Notice, again, it shows the bank at the top. This is bank K, sound 210. That's the name of the sound. That's what those numbers are. So if you're confused about what these numbers are, again, go to Roland's site, download the Verselab sound list. That'll show you all these sounds by number. But if you keep scrolling down in the presets, it has categories. So each one of these is a category of the sound that the sound designer made in like Zenology Pro, right? So you can set categories, and these are the categories for the instrument. So if you wanted a piano, you can scroll down acoustic piano or pop piano, hit the value button, scroll down. Each one of these comes up. You can see the names. You can play them. And when you found one you like, hit the value knob again, and it will load that. Now this is loaded to the track. Brilliant, right? Amazing. What other options do you have? Let's go back. Those were the presets. If you hit the value knob again, you'll go into this same browser. If you scroll down one from preset, you go to project. If you have a project on your Verselab, even the ones that come with it, you can go to that project, and then you can hit the value knob. Like these are some projects I've made, right? Hit the value knob, and then it asks you where you want to load this from. We're not going to get into this right now. It's a little more complicated than this video needs, but you can select a sound you have from a different track, and it tells you what the name of the sound is at the bottom in that specific clip. Hit exit to go back, exit to go back. The next one is wave file. You can import a wave directly, a sample that you've got on your Verselab on the SD card. So if you go in here, let's go to one of mine that I've made. This is the Leroy 3rd Micro Freak folder. Here's a bass. Oops, sorry, to do this, you hit load to preview the sample. So let's take this basic on C3, right? To load that, you just hit the value knob again, it imports it in, and now that's on. That is now on your track. This is a little high maybe for a bass sound, so let's move it down. To move something down an octave, these pads specifically, notice over here in the measure section it has octave negative and octave plus, but it's in this weird box. The white box means you hold down shift. Notice shift has that box around it as well. Hold down shift and push the button and it does that thing. So if I hold shift, push the octave negative by measure right down here, now it says octave negative 1, octave negative 2, octave negative 3, right? So we can go down to like maybe negative 1. Got a nice little bass sound, and it plays it chromatically. It is just a sample file, so it'll eventually run out. But like in this pack, my free pack, I have made it so it works really well across different octaves. Anyway, that's how wave files work. You can use any wave file you want, as long as it's in the correct format. So let's try another one. Let's try this brassy one. So we load up the brassy sound, go back to octave 0. Fantastic, works great. What other options do we have? The next one is the sound file. Sound files you have to buy from Roland. Even if you get Roland's cloud subscription, it doesn't come with sound files you can put on the Verselab, only on your computer. If you want the sound files, you have to buy them, the pack specifically. But it works the same way as anything else. You go into the sound file, you select which sound file you want. The first time you do this, by the way, it'll ask you to install a license because it has to be licensed to your machine. So you select the sound file you want. I have the first 100. You go into it, you select the sound, you hit the value knob to load it. Now you can play it. Now with the sound files, you can't just preview them, you have to load them, but you can hit the value knob again and scroll down. It'll say where you were, scroll down, hit the value knob, you can play it again. Right? It's not that difficult. It's actually quite easy to do that. The caveat about using the value knob, I mentioned this before, is that if you use the value knob, you can load the sound files in this way. There is another way to load presets, and that's to hit the edit button and then hit the track you want to load it on. We're on instrument 1, and we have the same options. However, if you do it this way, you have to then navigate to the sound file, navigate to it, load it. It asks you if you want to copy it to all. This is to all sections. We won't get there yet, but you can do either one. Then it loads it. And if you want to change the sound, you have to go through all of that again. It just takes so many more steps. So I tell people that there are two ways to load sounds onto a track, but the easiest way is to use the value knob. So what's next? Random. Okay, if you are in 1.80, 1.81, or 1.82 as your firmware, to tell what firmware you're on, you can turn off the Verselab with the switch in the back, and then turn it on. It'll tell you what firmware you're on. from 1.80 forward, it can make random sounds, and they're amazing. So you hit random, you select the type of sound you want. Let's do an analog sound. Okay, let's try another one. You just hit the value knob again to have it make a random, another new sound. The bad part about this is you can't save favorites or anything like that. If you wanted to save this sound, you'd have to save the project file, and then you could, load it in a different project or something. But once, if you go to a different sound, the sound you had before is gone. You can't get it back. That's kind of nice. Kind of like that. Anyway, so with these random sounds, you can select the category and then select what type you want. And it's great for making random sounds and inspiring you. But again, the only way to save these sounds is to save the project that the file is in at the moment. So anyway, hitting exit again and going backwards. What's next? Next is MIDI file. Okay, again, if you're in 1.80 or above on the firmware, you can load a MIDI file. It'll play sounds from MIDI files. Let's go ahead and just load a random MIDI file here. Go into this one. Whoops, can't do that on this one. All right, anyway, here we'll go. I know this sound pack. We'll just load this MIDI file. Now it's loaded a sound onto the track. Amazing, right? It's great. It's good for ideas. It's good for making chord progressions and stuff on your computer, bringing them in. Fantastic way to work to get some ideas. So this is how it works for sound, for tone tracks, right? If you want to clear a track of everything and start over, you can hold down the clear button over here on the left, hold down the clear button, and then hit the track, and it'll say, hey, do you want to clear the track? You can go to cancel, it'll do nothing. Or you can hit exit, it'll do nothing. If you go to OK and hit enter, it's going to clear that track. It clears all of the data you put in, all of the rhythm and the notes. It's all gone. The instrument is gone. Now it asks what kind of track you want. Tone track, drum kit track, or if you're on instrument 1 or 2, a looper track, which we'll talk about in a different video. So we can do a drum track, or tone track, or a drum kit. Again, if you tell it a tone track, it's going to load what's default on that track. So this is going to be the bell again. Right, just by default, it loads that in. You can change that again by just hitting the value knob and selecting what you want to load on that track. The other option, again, is a kit track. So if you clear the track again, holding down clear, pushing the instrument, you go to kit track, drum kit track. By default, again, it's going to load what's on kit right now. Right? You can change that, but this is a little more difficult. So to change this, you can't just hit the you can't hit the value. Oh, okay. So if you hit the value knob, it's each individual pad. So you can change the sound for this specific pad, for instance. Let's right, and then you hit enter. Boom, pad 1 is changed. All the other pads are the same. If you want to change an entire kit, you have to go to section select, then go to edit, pad. You have to scroll down to Kit Browser. Kit Browser. Then you can go to presets, all number or all alphabet, either one. And then you can select an entire kit. And you can try it out if you go back to note mode. You can try it out while you're still selecting in this menu. Okay, so once you find one you like, again, you hit the value knob. It'll put it all on there. Fantastic, great, it's great. The problem is if now you want to change the entire kit, again, you have to go back to section select, hit edit, then hit the clip you're on. We'll talk about that in another video, which is 1 right now. We'll go to the kit browser. Boom, you can select another kit. You can do it by alphabet as well, if you know what kind of kit you want. Again, if you hit note while you're looking through this list, you can try out the kit before you commit to it. Great, brush kit. Yay! All right, that's it for now. We'll talk more in depth later, how you sequence something, how you record, how you make melodies, all of that stuff. Today was just about loading a sound. How do you get it working? Also, just FYI, again, all 7 of these tracks, you can load anything you want on any of the tracks. If you go to the kit track, for instance, what's labeled kit, hold clear, push kit, clear track. Again, you can load a tone track right onto the kit track. Drum kit or tone. Tone, all right. So now it's got no sound on it because by default, the kit track is a kit track and this is a tone track now, but you can load a preset in just like anything else. See, boom. It doesn't have to be a drum either, it can be a tone. Fantastic. Anyway, so you have 7 tracks to work with. They can all be kit tracks. They could all be tone tracks. Hope you have fun. Next time we'll talk about how to use a step sequencer, how to record things, and we're going to go from there. I hope you like this. I hope you find it useful. I will talk to you guys later. This is Leroy Third. Bye.